Hey folks, welcome to Bear Mountain. Today we thought we'd just give you a walkthrough in an old piece of our farm that has been here, well, pretty much since about not so been that long. It's been 2008 as we built this is the first structure we ever built for our flower business.
The greenhouse?
The greenhouse, I guess. Okay, so this would be the second one. What this was built for is for growing on our seedlings before we actually plant them, which was out on the beds, which is almost directly out in front of this house. So we always called this the propagation house in a sense, because this is kind of, you know, where the action happened and the plants started getting ready to be put in the field. But with the advent of the pandemic back in 2020, we kind of mothballed this because our production went way down. And so we didn't need the space, and so we just kind of sealed it up and kind of left it, you know, to its own devices. We just, you know, maintained the outside of the structure, made sure everything was okay, but kind of on the inside we didn't really do much. And now we're bringing it back.
We reskinned it.
We did reskin it in 2018.
Right.
So, but the construction of this house is all the hoops and the purlin and all this is all PVC pipe. This is Schedule 40 pipe. They were in 20-foot lengths. And we've had a bit of settling on it. So when you kind of look at the purlin in the center, you go, well, wait a minute, it's not exactly in the center because part of one side of the house kind of settled an inch or so down. But we spaced the ribs on a 3-foot spacing, and this house is 18 foot deep and 14 foot wide. So it would enable us to get a nice pathway and side airflow away from the sides, and get two 16-foot tables in here that were just really pretty simple tables. All we did is we took some old it's like 6x6 posts and put it on top of some concrete blocks, put hog wire over the top, and then we use this 2-inch insulation board, stuff you can buy from Home Depot or someplace like that, is to kind of give things bottom insulation. When we first built the house, we were using soil blocks all the way through the process. So we created a capillary mat gutter type system in here to kind of keep the soil blocks on even moisture. At the same time, we put in these misters about a year later, just to give a little bit of extra humidity in here and give a little bit of water on the top. But for the most part, the watering when we did on the soil blocks was filling up the gutters that we had attached to the side here and using the capillary mat. But now that we've moved to the 6-packs for growing on, the 6-packs, the way they sit in the tray, they no longer have a contact with a capillary mat. And so what we have decided to do is we're going to go with these turbo misters. And we had an individual control on these things so we could kind of control the amount of flow in it. But if we put these guys on wide open, it will actually, you know, do a pretty good job of watering 6-packs. So instead of using capillary mat in the gutters, we took the gutters out, and we're going to just put down, to protect the top of the insulation board, some landscape fabric, which is, you know, everybody knows this stuff, the old polyweave geotextile landscape fabric. And we're just going to put this down on top of the tables. These tables are 4 foot wide. So I didn't go out and buy any 4-foot stuff, so I just had some 3-foot stuff left. So what I'm going to do is just kind of put 2 layers down on, you know, one on each side of these guys. So it'd kind of be a little bit easier to put down. And that'll protect the insulation board from getting too roughed up. And this stuff is, you know, water resistant. Obviously, it's styrofoam, so we've never had any problems with that. And this insulation board's been in here since 2008 too, so it's done pretty good. And this is 2022, 14 years. So that's it. And then we have a hoop system. This is just, you know, your 3/4 inch poly pipe that you know, I've talked about this before. I've used it on low tunnels in the garden and whatever. And there's just there's like holes on the other side that one end of the pipe will go in, and then you put the pipe into this end, and this just basically becomes a hoop system that if we need to put a fabric cloth like this over the top of the seedlings, and that works out pretty well. And we can just hold the fabric cloth onto the hoop. With what we did is we took some of that poly pipe and we cut it and then put a slit in it, and this becomes an excellent clip just to hold down. I mean, it'll hold down, you know, fabric cloth, bird netting, whatever. We use this pretty extensive. We don't buy any of that stuff. It's just, we just cut out, you know, from scrap pipe.
Recycle, reuse.
Yep. Recycle, reuse. And do we have water in here? We got a spigot in the back. We put that in when we built, so that works out pretty good. So we can actually kind of put a timer on this and do it, misting it like a couple times a day. So if I forget, the timer won't forget. And in the back is a big vent. Now, we did is we put a screen cover in the front of it. This is just kind of a handmade thing. I had some extra screen. I made some 2x2, put a piano or a couple of hinges on it, I guess. And then on the back side, we got a vent that we can open wide. And so between the roll-up sides and this back vent, we can keep this guy vented pretty good.
Why did you put a screen on it?
Well, originally I didn't have a screen on it, but then our cats figured out, hey, there's an open door, so they could jump in. And then also, too, we had a problem with squirrels.
But the cats used to come in here and sleep on the heat mat.
Yeah, well, they sleep because it's nice and warm.
Yeah, so they were kind of destructive. They were walking. This was our original cats, not the current cats.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're kind of mischievous. But this thing's got screen. I put screen on the from the hip boards down to the base. So when we do the roll-up sides, there's a screen there, so insects can't get in here either. So there wouldn't be a case of you know things coming in and landing on the plants and eat it, unless it came through the door, while the door is open. But it also keeps the animals out. More importantly, it was to keep the animals out. Okay, this roll-up side system is really pretty easy. The basic covering for the greenhouse actually ends right about here. And then what we do is we have a different piece of plastic that was extra, and it's held down by a wiggle wire, holds the top, and then this other piece here that becomes the side shield. The weight for the side shield is another piece of painted PVC pipe. It goes the total extent of the greenhouse. And then what we did is we drove some PVC pipe into the ground here and put in various holes that we could put stops. So if we rolled up, we could roll up the side halfway or 2/3 or all the way. In this case, this is about as high as it goes. The outside strap here is just to keep the PVC roll in place against the side of the house so wind doesn't bat it around. And this is all drip irrigation. This is old drip irrigation lines, like 15 mil irrigation line, and we just pinned it down with a couple of screws, and we put a strip of it on the inside too, so the roll up at every rib is protected against this PVC, so it rolls up pretty slick, or excuse me, the drip tape rolls up pretty slick.
It's not it's not automatic.
No, it's not automatic.
But it almost always is up.
Yeah. Yeah, once you get to a certain point, time of the year, it's warm enough, you can kind of keep it up. If it's going to get cold at night, I kind of lower it down, come back at the end of the day. One of the things, anybody who's rolling up sides, one of the things you might want to, just as an important safety tip, you'll notice that the side rolls down and then cups under instead of the other way where it rolls up. If it rolls up, the water coming down is going to fill in behind your roll-up roll and add extra weight and cause the whole thing to sag. So you want to make certain that the water is, going to shunt off and doesn't accumulate, against the house and cause problems. Other than that, that's pretty simple. It's a very manual system. When you want to take it down, we just pull the stop out, pull it back, and then there's a little handle on it. Took a little bit of fence rod, went through there, Made a nice little handle, except I forgot to take my stop off the other end, but you can kind of get the point. It will go all the way down. So you can set this at various levels depending, you know, how cold it is outside. I made the thing a little bit longer, so as you can see, what happens is as you roll it down, the excess kind of cups over. So it does give you, I mean, it's not a perfect airtight seal, but it kind of gives you a little extra airtight seal. And then in the morning, you know, if it's warm, we just simply just roll it back up. Put the stop back in, and that's it. We also got to make sure to do the stop on the back end too, but that's it. So kind of works pretty slick.
And why are we resurrecting this?
We have way too many cats around this place, and they don't respect boundaries. So we're you know, and we're doing a little bit more on the veg side, well, a lot more on the veg side this year, and so we just kind of thought, you know, this would be a great place to get this back into line, and it made sense. I mean, it was just sitting here doing nothing, you know. Right. So we needed to bring this back.
The kitties were getting into the crate house and laying on the fabric cloth and the plants, so they won't be able to get in this unless we forget to shut the door.
Yeah, what the front door has a screen on it too.
Right.
And the window does open on the front door, so it's all passive. Everything in this is passive. There's no electricity or anything of that nature.
Yeah, there's no way to get electricity.
So this time of year to early spring gets a lot of light. So it's pretty bright in here, and you can see right now, and this is a cloudy day today, partly cloudy anyway. We do have a maple tree over there. I'm going to be pruning some stuff on it, but to kind of keep it away from the house itself. But during the summertime, when the sun is further north and you get those hot summer rays, this actually tends to get a bit of more shade earlier in the days, so by mid-afternoon we can be shaded in here, and actually it kind of helps moderate the temperature in here from getting way too hot. So but in the you know, early spring, late winter, the sun is more further south, and so the trees aren't blocking it.
Yeah,
and there's no leaves on the trees, you know, at this point, so it works out pretty well. As I can see, I need sunglasses in here. So what we can do is on each of this 4-foot wide bench is we put everything in 10-20 trays. We're 10 inches by 20 inch, and so we can do 2 trays across. So I can get on this roughly 34 trays on a table, and so we can get, you know, 68 trays in here. And that actually works out pretty well, because between in and out, because, you know, once you get to a certain point where, you know, you got material flowing in, you got material flowing out, and that kind of, you know, it seems to work out pretty good.
Anything more than that, and we're not getting the field work done.
Yeah, it's like if it starts backing up too much.
Yeah, so it should be just a place to sort of harden off.
Yeah, grow on for about, you know, most things, maybe 3 weeks tops, you know, and then it should go out
for the field.
Right. I mean, there are some slower growing things like Lysianthus that just take forever, but
this was cheap.
Yeah, this is cheap. Yeah, to build the whole thing. Now, this is back in 2008 when things were a little less expensive. I think I spent $550 on the whole thing, and really the most expensive part was the door. You know, I think that was like 125 bucks, something like that. But the PVC, I got it from a wholesaler, and you know, I got it dirt cheap.
How do you protect the PVC?
Oh, that's important too. Yeah, most people, the major mistake they make on making a PVC type structure is they just, oh, it's all put together, so they just assume that you know, it'll last for a long time. And usually what happens with a PVC that's exposed to light, that has no kind of like treatment to it, you know, a coating on it, is the UV will degrade the polyvinyl, and it'll eventually get brittle, and then it becomes easy to crack. But what we did is we just used some cheap old latex paint that we had extra from, you know, painting on the house and things of that nature, and we just painted all the tubes. So once they were up, before we put any skin on or anything, or the hip boards or anything like that, we just had the basic hoops up with the purlins on it. We painted it with latex paint. And probably that was done again 14 years ago. They could probably stand to be using another coat the next time we do the skin on it. And we're probably going to have to replace the skin in another year or so, because we had one thing happen last year. I'm not sure if it was a squirrel or it was a cat, but we've got some various holes that I ended up patching with tape. But the worst one was on the end over here. It was like whatever animal was crawling up there lost its footing and just dug its claw in and created a slit that was like 3-4 foot long. And so we patched that with tape. Seemed to make it through the winter okay, but no leaks or anything like that. But I'm not sure, you know, from an integrity standpoint,
so
after it goes through summer.
Black foam things that are around it?
Yeah, when we originally built this, you know, and I thought about, you know, when we skinned it again in 2018, I kind of left them in place. They were kind of put on at points where I thought were rubbing points. So it was just foam insulation like you put on a pipe. And frankly, now I don't think they're doing anything. I think, you know, basically I could just take them off and get rid of them. But the whole idea was these foam insulators would, and they're kind of degraded a lot, but they just wrap around the pipe and then prevent, you know, like if the plastic was rubbing or movement, you know, because there is a bit of you know, movement that goes with any kind of structure like this, that you have a wind event or things like that, you can get some racking. But I really put I put end bracing on both sides, and we got, you know, 3 purlins plus the hip boards. This thing is really solid. And
we've had several snows between that, and the only thing that we did is we put a brace in the center, didn't we?
Yeah, we used just a 2x4 with a notch in it. So we just put it like, you know, I think we had 2 of them. Yeah, we have 2 of them, and we put it like, you know, kind of midway. So it gives it a little extra support for that purpose, so there would be no cracking or weight, you know, that would go down on it. And then we just make sure we scrape the snow off.
It's one of them that gets scraped.
Yeah, you just got to make sure we get it off. But it's had sometimes, I think the worst I've ever had on it was about 5 inches.
Right.
And it was not showing any no stress. So you can build a house that could be used as a greenhouse, and you can do it fairly cheap. You don't have to go and buy metal all the time, particularly, you know, if you're in an area where you don't get a lot of snow.
This would be a way to go.
This would be a way to go. Occasional snow, yeah, okay, got to build a little stronger.
But
a lot of snow, yeah, I don't know, I don't think so.
But this was a cheap way to get us started.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's kind of what we did. We built the greenhouse, and it was just going to be a hobby greenhouse. Then when we got into the cut flowers, we needed another space to go bigger, and this was it. It was inexpensive, and we put it up really fast. Mm-hmm. And the longest part was painting it.
Yeah.
And it's still here. So, in fact, we've built all our tunnels.
Yes.
The greenhouse was a kit. This we built from kind of scraps. And then the first 3,
we bent our own metal.
We bent our own metal.
And the last 2 were from Farmer's Friend,
right,
which it was already pre-made as a kit to put together.
But we did the first ones.
Yep, just the 2 of us.
Just the 2 of us, so it can be done.
So, yeah, and it's, you know, I don't know what it would cost today to build this. Maybe double it, you know, with the price of lumber and everything. So, anywho, this is kind of what we're going to be doing today. This is the project, and then once I get all the mat down and get this kind of swept up a bit, we're just going to start bringing our seedlings down, and
this is where they'll hang out.
Yep, this is the season. Got to get it going. So anyway, folks, thanks for watching. Just thought we'd show you, you know, one of the older structures on the farm and kind of give you kind of a brief idea how it was all put together.
And through the season, I'll come down and take photos of stuff that we bring down to show you how it sets up.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So if you don't have any questions.
The cat is
because we left the door open.
Yeah. Oh no, they found it.
Yeah, they found it. So anyway, folks, I want you to stay safe and have a what? Have a
nice week.
Yeah, let's have a good week. Considering how bad things are out there in the world.
Let's just find a little.
Let's find a little joy and good. And good in things. So take care, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.